first culvert, the Military Road culvert over Fish Creek. It's located right here, immediately north of the intersection with Fairview Drive. So why is this project needed? The culvert itself is now 84 years old and has pretty much exhausted its current service life. It does have widespread deterioration with some corrosion holes, some spalled concrete on the inlet and outlet, and the culvert doesn't currently meet the design criteria for conveying and resisting storm flows. It's undersized and it's missing the necessary riprap at the inlet and outlet. And you can also see here at the outlet, it's a raised outlet, meaning there's a step here, which also inhibits aquatic organism passage. Additionally, the guide rail needs to be upgraded to meet current standards. So we're in preliminary design currently. That's why we're here tonight to present based on the engineering analysis that we've done to date. We've come up with an alternative that we want to present to the town board and the public to get reactions. Basically, the work anticipated, it's not a lot of work. We're ultimately going to fully replace the existing culvert along its current location with a new 16-foot wide by 7-foot high concrete 3-sided structure. In order to do that, we do have to reconstruct a little bit of the roadway and see the approximate roadway limits of reconstruction here. We will also be putting in stone aprons at the inlet and outlet that helps with scour. And we will be installing a combination of guide rail and bridge rail over the culvert on both sides. In order to accomplish the work, there will be some tree removals seen here in the red X's around the culvert site. That's really needed because we have to excavate in order to get the new culvert in. There will be some minor temporary easements needed and permanent easements needed at the outlet to allow for future maintenance. So during construction, Military Road will be closed through traffic during the construction duration, which we're anticipating to be on the order of 4 to 6 weeks long. An off-site detour will be used. It'll pretty much just circle you around Military Road, Upper Mountain Road, to Lewiston Road is the full complete loop. That basically for through travel is about an additional 0.4 or 1 minute net increase in through traffic. The local access would be maintained on all driveways and Fairway Drive as well throughout construction, and no nighttime construction will be permitted for the project. We did, recognizing that there is some decent traffic volumes on the road, as part of our analysis, we did look at staged construction where you would build 1/2 the culvert at a time. The issue at this site is the road being only 2 lanes wide. There isn't enough room in order to do that unless you result in having alternating one-way traffic and with a temporary signal. And the problem with that is because of the traffic volumes, you would have a very large queuing delays. So the key here is we really want to have the contractor get in and get out as quick as possible to minimize the impacts. The second culvert project is 104 over Fish Creek. So basically not too far away from the culvert we were just talking about. This one's 63 years old, and it also has essentially exhausted its service life. There is widespread deterioration throughout the inside of the culvert with cracking, spalling, and exposed reinforcement, and another opportunity here to upgrade the guide rail to current standards. Similar to the other culvert, the work anticipated is to fully remove and replace the culvert under the roadway along the same alignment as the existing culvert. Be replaced with a 12-foot wide by 7-foot high concrete 4-sided box culvert. just a little bit larger than the existing. Similarly, we would reconstruct the roadway immediately adjacent to the culvert to replace the roadway after the excavation, installing the new guide rail on both sides of the road, the stone riprap apron on the one side. On the outlet side, we would be reconstructing, there's a concrete apron that conveys the stream. We would be reconstructing the concrete, short little stretch of the concrete apron. We also do anticipate that the water main does need to be relocated. And again, there's some tree removals needed in order to accomplish the work, and a temporary easement that would be needed for contractor access. Given the much heavier volumes on 104, the plan here would be to maintain traffic during construction with 2 lanes of traffic throughout the construction, and we would build it 1/2 at a time, and we would utilize lane shifts and tapers in order to shift the traffic to one side while we build half the culvert, and then transfer the lane shift over and build the second half of the culvert. And we're anticipating with 2 stages, it does lengthen the construction duration a little bit. We're anticipating 10 to 12 weeks, but it would be open to traffic throughout the entire duration. We will make sure that in the contract documents that the timing of this culvert reconstruction is offset from the one on Military Road, so that we don't have the scenario of having both under construction at the same time. That will be required by the contractor to offset those. All the adjacent driveways and the golf cart crossing to the south will be maintained throughout construction. And again, no nighttime construction is anticipated. So these 2 culverts are part of a larger multi-site culvert replacement project that the New York State Department of Transportation is undertaking with several other sites throughout the Region 5, the DOT Region 5 area. It does contain both state funding and federal funding for the culverts. And like I said, we're currently in the preliminary design phase, so we've done initial data collection, looked at the hydraulics, looked at preliminary layouts, and where we are currently is presenting here to start to gauge feedback and see if there's anything important that we should take into consideration that we haven't. And then we will progress into final design later this year and into next year, and construction is anticipated to happen in 2027, although the exact start date of 2027 has not yet been established. Certainly, this is my last slide. You can entertain questions, but anyone can also email New York State DOT, Brian Dankirk, at that email address or his phone number. We just want everyone to reference, if you're going to send in correspondence, reference that project identification number 5LC1.11. We also have comment forms available at the back of the room. If anyone wants to fill those out, they can just fold it up. They have the address to return them to already on them, and you can return them. We are asking for all comments to be returned to us in about 3 weeks. There's the date on the comment form.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
One, is there any way you can email our town clerk your presentation so we can put it on our website?
Yes, we can.
And 2, at the intersection of Fairway and Military, there are a lot of dead ash trees that were pushed over, which I was all in favor of getting pushed over. What are the chances of getting them all cleaned up and out of there during this process? I don't know if that's a DOT question, but my fear is they rot, they get in the creek, they go down 100 feet, 200 feet down, and now it's a town problem in people's backyards, and there's a damning issue. And you'll see where the trees have been knocked over. I would love to see, I would almost like to see those trees cleaned up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I have a question, sir. And when you do the culvert, especially the one at 104, the heavy rainstorm, that's like a river. The amount of water going, is water still going to be able to go through there during construction?
Yes, the contractor is obligated to maintain the flow during construction using a temporary waterway diversion system.
far as your timing of the project, when are you looking to do it? Because Lewiston is very active in the summer months with Art Park and all the different festivals and also with Border Cup. So I'm hoping that that will be taken into consideration. And then also too, as far as barricades, I know that you had mentioned that you're going to have to block off that access. What about for St. Mary's? Will the barricades be towards Upper Mountain, or will they be more towards Fairway to allow for people to get in and out of the hospital?
Yes, the barricades will be right up, actually right up tight to the, very close to the actual culvert site.
Okay,
Yes.
so the hospital entrance won't be impeded.
Correct.
But Fairway will be.
Fairway will also remain open. Will remain open. There will be signs ahead that will say road closed ahead, local traffic.
Okay.
So those signs will be placed.
Well, because that's what the other is, the mitigation of the local traffic only is what you anticipate as far as the increase through the neighborhood to be.
Well, yes. There's usually, we'll have the sign detour route. And when we lay out detours, we utilize, state roads with sufficient capacity, always recognizing that there are local roads, that the local road system may offer shorter. And, so.
Okay, because there may be potentially a large impact on the residents in that neighborhood. For a lot of local people are going to quickly be moving into that neighborhood.
Yeah, that'll.
As far as just people who take the shortcut.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's just human nature, they're gonna take that shortcut. So,
Are both these gonna be scheduled during the same time, or is it gonna be one and then the other?
No, the contract documents will make sure that the contractor cannot do both of them at the same time. He has to do one, get it fully completed, or at least open, back up the traffic before he can do anything with the roadway at the other one.
Real quick, just to keep it in order, is there any other department heads that have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I just have a couple. This is might seem a little tangential to the question. In your slide up there, when you had the one out by military, I think on either side, you had tree removals within the creek. I completely understand why it's necessary. Did you have to get, or are you in the process of getting, DEC permits and Army Corps permits to dredge the creek?
Yes. Well, we won't be doing any formal dredging where we're actually removing sediments and hauling them off site. Any of the work in the bedded banks of the creek, we do need to file for and receive under state DEC and Army Corps permits. So we will be as part of the final design process once we have everything exactly figured out.
I was just curious. There's
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
discussion about that subject. I noticed that. So,
Yes.
Okay, and then the capacity, particularly of that culvert, I think you're increasing the size?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit?
A little
Okay.
bit, yes.
I can email you some other ones, but the water line replacement on 104, that's a brand new water line. Few years old, so. Will we have some chance to comment on what you're proposing?
Certainly. Okay, yes. Yep. Like I said, we're in the early design stages.
Understood, yeah,
So,
understood, yeah.
Yes.
I get it. Thank you.
Anybody else from town department heads, got any questions? Tim, go ahead.
I just have the same concern Sarah had with Fairway. During the North Hewitt, or during the one up near North Hewitt, we were inundated with traffic complaints for people who were skipping through. We did our best to mitigate it, but just anything we can do signage wise and whatnot to limit that, because they start speeding through that neighborhood.
Anybody else?
Yeah, my only comment would be, piggyback on what Bob said, because I don't know how you're gonna make those stone entrance and exit on the outside without dredging the bottom of that creek. I don't think that that's gonna be possible. So it's gonna be interesting to watch that happen. But then also when you relocate the water line, will the water line be is it gonna go around, like further west, and then will there have to be a permanent easement for the water line?
There is enough room within the existing highway boundary that we don't need a
Okay.
permanent easement. Yep. so the highway boundary already does flare
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
So we would be staying within the highway boundary. We won't be taking, spoils from the stream off-site. We do need to fill back in with natural substrate as part of the DEC permits, so we'll be reusing that material.
No, I understand that, but they've also given us a hard time about doing the exact same thing. And, you know, they're telling us in our highway department we can't do that, and then, but then it seems like DOT can come in and do it, and we're just sitting there scratching our heads. So that's the reason for the comments.
Any questions from the public? Any more questions from the public? Yeah, go ahead.
I live on Meadowbrook Drive, our house is down to Fairway. We've got Fish Creek running through our backyards.
Yeah.
And this replicates concerns of neighbors on either side of me. It deals with the deadwood in the creek.
Yep.
And there's quite a bit of it. And it involves the flow of the creek, of course. And we would like to see the living trees that are there provide privacy and pretty and such. We would like to see the creek dredged. I think you said it wouldn't be.
Right.
Not completely dredged, but just having the deadwood removed would be precious to us. Is that part of the plan? To have the length of
How many
the-
houses down are you?
5 houses down from Fairway, when you turn on the Meadowbrook Fairway. I'm the 5th house down on Fish Creek side.
Yeah, I believe that would fall under the town highway department at that point, if I'm reading you right, as far down as you are. So we could talk about that, because what we are allowed to do, as Tim was saying, we went to a ton of DEC meetings, because one of the biggest issues is cleaning out some of these ditches. And we've been told we can't, but we can pluck, right?
Yep.
So if there's some trees in there and we can access it from your backyard, we'd love to come look.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a fenced-in cyclone fence in my backyard, so it wouldn't be, if the other side's open and clear.
But you just come look. I mean, we won't, just to come look. We won't, so, okay, yes.
Just to kind of piggyback on what Sarah said, I think somebody else said, if I could suggest, I have an elderly relative that lives on Meadowbrook, and close friends that live on Fairway. I don't know if you live around here, but on our park nights and festivals, those two side streets, Fairway and Meadowbrook, become raceways as shortcuts through, and that's what I envision happening. There's times where it's impossible for my mother to get out of the driveway because she can't get out of the traffic that's on the street. So maybe if you bump that barrier forward and only have local traffic in the Fairway, that might help for people that live in that area.
Also close Fairway right there. That would keep people, you'd have to go around, but.
And then the people would just go out to 104. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, but definitely, yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody, any other questions from the public? All good? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very.
we're gonna leave all the comment sheets here, so that if
Okay.
anyone has, that's not here, wants to.
Okay. And if you could email that to Amy Smith,
Yep.
He's got
or
my-
A. Smith, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's got my
okay.
contact.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
perfect. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, yeah. It goes over.
Terry Duffy, I know you're online. I'll make sure you get more presentation as well. I'm not gonna bother pulling out like 100 people. Just have conversations. Sorry.
It's good for the wood.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Department head statements. Tamara, anything? Chief, anything? Tim, anything? Amy?
Yes, I know Sarah talked about the ceiling and striping, but I received bids to get the parking lot here at Town Hall and at the senior center sealed and striped. And the low bidder was Black Gold Sealer for the Town Hall price of $7,046 and the senior center price $9,700. And when I spoke to Jackie back in July, I think she said age 98. You know what I use?
Age 97.
Age 97, my bad, I'm sorry. Yep, that's what I meant. So I'd like to ask the board for approval to award Black Gold Sealer those projects.
I'll make that motion as stated.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, for Black Gold Sealer at $7,046 for Town Hall and $9,700 for the senior center, and taken out of the H97 account. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, the planning board meeting originally scheduled on October 16th conflicts with our town, our work session that was moved because of the holiday. So we're asking to move it to October 23rd at 6:30. I spoke to Tim and he's okay with that.
Actually works better, right, Tim? Okay. I don't think we need do we need a motion to change the planning board date?
No,
Okay.
it's just a notice to the public.
Okay, and we'll put it on our website, 10/23 at 6:30 PM for the October planning board. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Deputy Supervisor Conrad, anything?
Nothing tonight.
Dan Zane, anything?
Nothing.
Jeff Ritter?
We had an open house scheduled for last Saturday. We had some issues at the plant, so we had to cancel that. What I'd like to say, if anybody is interested in a one-on-one tour or 2 or 10-on-1, I would still be very happy to give a tour of the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Melinda?
Yes. Okay, usually all the fun stuff planned like usual. I mean, the 5th of September, we have our Bills kickoff tailgate party. We'll have root beer and I'm sure chicken wing dip. Let's see, and then I was able to schedule a flu shot clinic with Wegmans this time. I couldn't get anyone else to do it, but Wegmans, right there, they're gonna do it September 30th from 10 to 12, it looks like, I said here. Just other than that, we're busy with yoga, so we're thinking, Monday yoga adding an earlier class, like 8:15, 9:15, and then have the other one 9:30 to 10:30, because they're getting a little upset because they have to turn people away. I think they're gonna have a coup and try to overthrow it or something, so we're gonna try to add another class to keep everybody happy, so we'll see how that goes. I just had the brilliant idea this morning, and I said, why don't we add another class earlier? And there's about 21 people that will come, so that will balance it out, so that'll be good.
Is the first one full already?
Yeah, well, I have to turn people away.
Yeah, the second one I mean.
No, well, I just had the idea today, so I reached out to, Somacura, they're who do, they provide our exercise instructors, so, which is nice, because then they have a whole bunch of them, so if one can't come, another one can, but we generally have the same instructor every time, so, we'll see what happens.
I've mentioned this before, Melinda's created a monster at the senior center, which is what we asked her to do when she first took the job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody's noticed when you drive by the senior center, that the parking lot's packed. And if you notice soon, it's already lit up, but a lot, the darker it gets earlier. We put all new lighting at the senior center, so,
those 5 o'clock and 5:30 afternoons, it's gonna be well lit, so, and I appreciate everything Melinda does down there, she's doing exactly what we kinda talked about when she came on board, and, the other person's done the same thing, creative monsters, Tim Smith,
Yeah, you're not gonna like this then. No, but yeah, and I'll get to it. So, we ended up all 3 of our camps, had a great year, great turnout, and great feedback from the community, which is great. Working on implementing, travel baseball to the town. So we're gonna try to expand that and, develop a more competitive for, baseball and softball. So we could, develop our kids more and give them more opportunities to play more competitively outside of the town. So we're working on that. Our bocce and cornhole's going great. The highway department did a great job on those, courts and all that, so people are enjoying that. And speaking of monsters, 2 months from today, we work with the senior center for our 2nd annual trunk or treat with the haunted house in the senior center. So that's actually 2 months from today, so.
Awesome.
We'll put more information out as we get closer, so.
And for people that don't know, there's bocce courts behind the senior center that were totally redone, cleaned out. I threatened that if Tim didn't get something done down there, we're gonna make it a community garden. And so now we have bocce courts that people, if you wanna practice, whether you play here or at Hyde Park or Niagara Falls, and I know there's a lot of Lewiston residents that do that. You go to the senior center and enjoy those courts. So thank you very much. I think that's everybody. No. So approval of the meeting minutes for the regular town board meeting on July 28th. I review them and I make a motion to accept them.
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Abstract of claims, Councilman Jacoby.
I have 2. The first is 8/11/2025. I move to approve the regular abstract of claims 25-01974 through 25-02140. I recommend a payment in the amount of $321,172.82, plus a post audit in the amount of $0. We had no post audit. I'll just read the second one. Can we do them together, Al?
I would do them one at a time,
Okay.
because they're different,
That's a motion.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the second one is from 8/25. I move to approve the regular abstract of claims 25-02141 through 25-02271. I recommend a payment in the amount of $451,290.60, plus a post audit in the amount of $2,031.60. That's a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Nothing under old pending business, new business, nothing. Supervisor Broderick, liaison report. So I have a letter here to Amy Smith and the town of Lewiston, to the town of Lewiston town clerk for Mitchell Zano, town of Lewiston highway superintendent. Announcing that I will be resigning as town of Lewiston highway superintendent effective September 2nd, 2025. It's been my privilege to have been elected to the town of Lewiston highway superintendent position. I will be forever grateful for the support of the current supervisor and town board, town employees, and other elected officials, as well as the town of Lewiston residents. So with that, I would ask for a motion to accept Ms. Zano's resignation as Lewiston town highway superintendent with regret.
I'll make that.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And so that leaves a vacancy there. So I would like to make the motion that effective September 3rd, 2025, make a motion that we appoint Michael Weiss to be the new town of Lewiston highway superintendent. And that'll be effective September 3rd at the current salary. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Can I know the answer, but he's from our water, he's from our department.
He's from our, the highway water department. Yeah.
Plenty of experience.
Yeah, how many years of service?
Well, you could
can ask him. Mike, you wanna stand up? So how many years were you with the county?
I was with the county for 6 years. I've been with the water department for 8, going pretty close to 9.
Okay, so you've seen everything.
I have seen everything, I have heard everything, and learned a lot, so.
Oh, okay, well, that's good. And you're willing to keep learning, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Anybody else? So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard. Congratulations. Now, I did save one department head statement for Mike, even though he's not taking over September 3rd. Mitch talked with him. Mike, you want to talk about the paving?
Sure. We're seeking an additional $85,000 for paving project over by NU. It's gonna be Monroe, Penrose, Liberty Circle, Sherman, McKinley, and Riverview. Those roads are in extremely rough shape. NU's actually called us about, because 2 of those roads are kind of entrances to NU, and they've been kind of making complaints about it. So if we could get that money, I would greatly appreciate it, so we could get that project done.
And I talked with Jackie, who couldn't be here tonight, she's out of town. So the total amount is $85,127. It would come out of our H97 infrastructure account, so I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
You doing that this year, Mike?
Yes. Yep.
So is it just, blacktopping it, or are you gonna mill it down?
It's gonna be milled and blacktop.
Okay, milled and blacktop, okay.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think, probably what, the last 3 or 4 years at least, if not more, we've done extra paving.
Yeah, we have a lot of roads that are really needing some attention,
Yeah.
so.
And I think we stayed ahead of it, so.
Yes.
You know, we've been proactive, so thank you very much. Okay, I have a letter here from Patricia Pinson, 4991 Creek Road. Dear Town of Lewiston, I received my water bill, my water and sewer bill, billing date 8/1/25. The bill is for $2,191.47. My previous bills were around $70. I once had an issue with my sump pump water backup staying on after a power outage, but I have been very conscious about since that large billing. This time, however, I cannot find a culprit to this much water usage. My brother, who works at the sewer plant, Jeff Ritter, said I should have someone check on the water meter and see if I am leaking water somewhere. The town showed up, and the best they could surmise is there may be a problem with the meter. Regardless, if it was anything I could not see, I would assume it was water from the sump pump assessed, not going into the home sewer, but storm sewer. My brother says I should ask the town to at least waive the sewer charges on my bill. I spoke with Jeff Ritter. He kind of recused himself, but he did say that it was a sump pump issue and not in the sewer. I talked to Tamara from the water, who's the clerk for the water department. The problem with the meter there was nothing wrong with the meter. It was that they couldn't, it was not a newer meter, so they couldn't get the data out of it that we can get from our newer meters. So there's nothing wrong with the meter. So with Tamara and I sat down, and the amount would be $983.89 minus $30.97, which is what her normal sewer usage is. So what she would be asking for is relief of $952.92. She would pay the full water bill, which is 1,008 water alone, and $30.97 on top of it. So what this board needs to decide is whether they're willing to waive $952.92 that did not go into the sewer.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Is that the best we could do?
Yes.
That's,
Yes.
there's no way to go in.
Yeah. Yeah, we pay for the water from that. She had this one.
Yeah.
Mr. Supervisor, one of the things I would add to that, if you decide to move forward with the motion, is that it's the board's decision not to create a precedent by doing this, because our current policy, if I remember correctly, only involves replacement of pool liners, et cetera, that are approved by the water department and the
Yeah, but we waived sewer fees before at board
Understood.
meetings for cases, extreme cases, and knowing that it didn't go in
Understood. I don't think you're doing the wrong thing. I
Yeah.
think you just make sure that becomes part of, that you're not creating precedent to add another category of automatic refunds.
Okay. So anybody have any further questions?
I do.
Pardon?
I do. That's
Yeah.
my water bill.
Okay, well, you, go ahead.
They came and actually changed the water meter because it was not functioning correctly. It was not working correctly.
I spoke with Jeff Bell, he was out today, I gave him a call, and he said they changed it because it was an older style meter, and they couldn't extract the data. So the situation happened, I think it was about a year ago, and again, we couldn't extract the data to see when, date and time, the water was used. If it was like a newer style meter, we could do that, so they wanted to change it just in case something happened in the future, we can see when and where it happened.
But the levers on the dial were not functioning properly. When I turn the water on, you know, the blue one spins, red one never moved, and it was at 5, just sitting there.
Hold on a second. What, do you have anything to add there, Dan?
Well, if the red one never moved, the meter wouldn't go anywhere. It wouldn't show it was then used in the water at all.
Exactly. It's not I mean, they replaced it for the water department, they said themselves that this isn't functioning right, they couldn't understand, so they were gonna bring it and compare it to what you had, the data that you had, and they couldn't. This happened one other time 2 years ago, but this is in the winter time. Somebody tried to break in my house and turn on my outside water by stepping on it, you know, and I took responsibility of that. Filed a police report, you know, they tried to break my window, the screen was off, the whole, you know, I thought I had turned it off for the winter, but I took responsibility of that, and I paid, that was only $1,500. This is outrageous, and I don't have, it's just my daughter and I living there. And I'm very conscious about, since that bill.
Yeah. That's what she's asking, and that's what is.
So, my question is, so the problem really hasn't been resolved, we don't know if it's been resolved? Because this would be, we don't have any data from this month, correct? So we don't know if it's gonna be
Yes,
like a
it's been resolved.
continuation?
We did go there and take a reading, and it is back down to normal.
So it's back down to normal,
Yeah,
okay.
yep, and if the red dial isn't moving, it's not registering a reading, so it's not.
So there'd be no water.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, so I just wanna, you know, like, make sure that at least, you know, we have 1 month where it was low, the month that it spiked, and then now it's back to, normal or to,
Right,
baseline.
they
Yeah,
changed
set.
it. Once they changed it, I go down and check it. All the time, and it's, you know, it's functioning correctly.
So basically, what we'd be looking for is a motion to forgive $952.92 on a water bill of $2,191.47.
I'll make that motion, as stated.
I'll second it. Any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Legal, Al?
Working on a lot of stuff, nothing to report right now, just, one step in front of the other.
Okay. Engineering,
All five, Mr. Supervisor.
finance, budget revisions.
I visited Jackie on Friday, she had 7 budget revisions that I reviewed with her, and I was okay with them. I make the motion that we accept the budget revisions as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, I thought we were gonna address the status of the TED Explorer.
Oh, I'm sorry, I could certainly address that. Sure. So recently, there was an inquiry brought and communications provided to the town relative to an ethical question. I had reached out to the ethics board, providing them with the documents that I had been provided, and also explained to them their responsibility under the town of Lewiston code. I also had a conversation with the chairperson, who had indicated to me that the board had met, I believe, last week in an initial attempt to address the issue. It was made, I was made aware at that time that the individual who wrote the original email and the subject of the concerns was not personally interviewed, and so this morning I wrote an additional communication to the ethics board and placed a phone call to the chairperson, advising them that they would need to do a second meeting, preferably at my office, where the parties of interest would be interviewed and any questions could be asked of them, so that they make sure that the ethics inquiry was complete. So I would just report to the board that it's 50% done. I believe that there were some statements already made to the board and some that are anticipated that will address that issue. The ethics board has a very specific charge, and that is to do a full investigation and report to the town board. And so far they've reviewed the documentation portion. I'm advising them to take the next step and do the personal interview portion, and then I will advise them and assist them in preparing the document that will eventually come to the town board.
Yeah, and I want to address something that's been on social media that supposedly we had a deceased member on our board. We did not have a deceased member on our board. Bobby DeFrancisco passed away in September of 2024. On January, whatever our first meeting in January, at our reorganization meeting, we filled that position. And that position's been filled since the first week of January.
I can tell you, Mr. Supervisor, that the members of the board are taking this very seriously. No one is brushing it under the carpet, so to speak. They want to do a good job for the town. It's just by the nature of the task that they've been charged with. It doesn't happen very often. I was on the town board for several iterations, and we never really had an issue that was referred to the ethics board, and so not that it's new. Certainly right and wrong is relatively straightforward, but they need to have all the evidence and all the information before they provide a report to the town.
Okay.
I do have a question as far as, and this is just a procedural question, after going through and reading, there's obviously, there's not a lot of parameters in our town code.
That's right.
But I did have a question as far as why we have a town official that is appointed to the ethics board. So I just wanted to, I don't understand the reasoning, because I guess if
You're
it's
talking about in the
a
code?
town employee, yes, because it says that it's either an elected person, town employee, or something like that, and I find that to be a little bit of a conflict of interest to have.
I couldn't speak to why.
Okay.
I mean, I
It's just a legal
honestly don't know why. It's just in the, I mean, it could have easily been, and what you're suggesting is that in the code that says how many people and
Yes,
when they meet, et
yes,
cetera,
yeah, yeah.
it indicates so many members with one of them to be
A
a
town
town
employee.
employee or official.
Yeah.
It was just the way it was drafted, and I would imagine they probably used a model code at the time.
Okay.
It could have just as easily been left out, and I'm not sure that it would have had much difference
Okay,
or
because I was just
impact.
wondering if it's something we need to revisit, or just for the fact that, you know, because if you're investigating a town matter, it shouldn't have.
Yeah, I
guess
mean, I'm not
personal
sure that it's
opinion.
it's a conflict of interest. Certainly, the town board and the ethics board, their motivation should be aligned.
Yeah.
If that official happened to be somehow vested in the question, then I would say that there's a conflict of interest with that particular official, and they should recuse themselves from the ethics board consideration and decision. And they really don't make a decision, they just make a recommendation to the town board in written form. in this circumstance, I believe Mr. Bucco is the.
Town assessor.
I don't believe that he has any connection to the issue at all, unless someone has some other information, so I don't think there's a conflict there. Certainly, again, as I mentioned, they're taking their job very seriously, they just have very little experience to work off of, so.
Yeah, and I know that
I'm trying to help
vote's
them do
not
that.
very explanatory, so
Sure.
it was.
I mean, certainly we could revise, we could touch on that section of the law to provide more parameters. I could guarantee you that there are better
Yes, I would think.
codes drafted to address these types of issues, and certainly we could look into that and revise it. With pretty simple to do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Councilman Jacoby.
I have nothing on my liaison report.
Councilman Morial.
I have a sewer forgiveness for a pool refill for Mr. Jordan Green at 4751 Creek Road, Lewiston, New York. It's for $60.40, and Jeff Ritter, $60.45. And Jeff Ritter approved it from the wastewater treatment plant, so looking at a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Councilman Lecter.
Okay.
Councilwoman Lecter, I'm sorry.
Yes, well, that's, anyway, and sorry, Amy, didn't mean to take your, paving and striping, so my apologies there, but, I do have two hires. The first one would be a motion to hire, it would be Shannon Young. She would be seasonal helper clerical at $18 per hour, and she would be starting on September 1st of 2025.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is just as a fill-in position. It's not a new position. This is just somebody, when somebody else is off.
Well, this is
they'll-
town of rec, this is rec, this is.
Oh,
rec.
oh, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
this is different, so this is for recreation.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yes, and then the second one, this one is for the senior center. It is a motion to hire Clara Hughes as a part-time senior aging services aide. This would be an as-needed position when the center is short-staffed. The pay rate would be $16 per hour, and it would not exceed the 20 hours per week. Now, how this position would work is it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a flex position, because that's not the proper explanation, is that if one of the staff is out, then Melinda can call in Miss Hughes and have her come in to take that position. So and Melinda, is that correct to explain it as like a flex position for you? Okay. But it's not a creation of a new position, it's just being able to have somebody come in like a substitute teacher.
Yeah, it would be a good idea to always have two paid staff in the center. We rely a lot on volunteers, and we have about 40 volunteers that do a lot for us, but I think it's a good idea, when I'm there by myself, or Carol Jacobs, or Patty Zano, that there's another staff member that is paid, that is there. I mean, if there's an emergency or whatever. I mean, we have the van drivers that are on the road. We have Mike, Game for now, he's doing the gardening, but it's good, because when we're busy and you have to be going all over the place, it's hard to get the phone and meet people coming in, and it's a two-person at least operation.
And then we can talk about 2026, if
Yes.
if there's more of a position that's
Yes.
required, that's
Okay.
when we address this.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
So is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Second. We have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So resident statement, Steve Newman.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing outstanding. It's basically just a few of those, you guys answered quite a few of the questions that I was gonna already answer. I had a big old spiel going on, so I'll save that and we'll just get down to the points, right? So about the ethics process, you both have hit it right there. In our town code, it doesn't really give us a full, it gives us like 3 or 4 different parameters involved, right? And those, so with those parameters and everything, I believe there's supposed to be minutes accounted for during those ethics meetings and according to the town code, is it like accurate documentation or?
In this particular case, I believe there was your 2 emails.
No, I never emailed anyone. I'm speaking specifically for Steve Newman. I'm no part of the 3F Club, I'm no part
Fair
of
enough.
the emails or the
Okay.
violation. I'm specifically speaking on the process. That's my main thing.
What I'm going
Processes
to advise the ethics board to do is to provide all of that in their response to the town board.
Okay.
So that there will be no stone unturned, so to speak.
Okay.
Once the report is there, it'll be everything that they considered in conjunction with their report.
Right. So I fully respect whatever comes out of that, because, like I said, you can't change the past, you can only deal with the future, and the future folks that may come up with conflicts of interest or ethics violations in question. And I'm gonna cite some case law from New York State on the ethics violations of conflicts of interest. And it's case law, Zangros versus Conklin, okay? And it states in there that conflicts of interest, if there's any sort of it, it needs to have full disclosure, and the official should abstain from the vote, with the full disclosure being disclosed, whatever that may in turn as far as the legalities. But that's the case law.
Steve, spell the first Zangros.
Zagerios versus Conklin, Conklin. 1985 is when that case law was done.
Okay, one more time for Zagros, because I thought there was an N in it.
Zagerios.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the one that specifically states public's perception of conflict of interest. I know you had mentioned that last week when she had questioned about whether or not she should abstain and not whatnot, you had said whether or not she thought that it was a conflict of interest. And this case law right here specifically contradicts that. So,
Go ahead.
I know you said it was case by case and all that,
Sure.
but if it's already ruled, and I don't understand case law, I'm not a lawyer, right? I get it, right? So that's why it's like the frustration of this for me is trying to understand the process and the legality of it, right? Because for the last 3 times that I've come up here and have spoke and been against something, I haven't heard anything opposing to the other side, but yet the other side still gets the vote and wins, right? So it doesn't make sense to me that you get, like, for instance, I brought a 42-page signature petition up here for everyone that was against the storage unit on Mount City Road, right? That was everybody that was directly impacted by that. And the vote still passed, right? So there was equal weight when it came to the small-term rentals of people opposed and people for it, and it is what it is. That vote carried which way. For this president's part, I've only heard the developer that was for it. There's been several hundred emails, I believe, and several people here for the first time speaking against it, and it just seems like it's getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and it's gonna go. I understand, and here's my question. Is it because the town is afraid of the legal ramifications from denying it and the developers pursuing a lawsuit on the town because of our comprehensive plan that we have in place right now with the zoning and everything right now, because it's zoned for it? I wouldn't want somebody to tell me what I can do with my land.
If I could just respond briefly, Mr. Supervisor, I think you hit it on the head. There's only so many tools that the town board has, and has certain parameters within which it has to operate. So, unfortunately, from the public's perspective, it may look like acquiescence, we're not doing anything, but the reality is the town has to work within the guidelines of the law. And the private citizen, again, like it or not, has the right to do with their property what they want, so long as they comply with town code, okay, and New York State code. And if the parties at issue can provide that information through the hearing process where dissent can be raised, and they have jumped through the hurdles, then they're entitled to do what they want with their property, regardless of the town board's personal position on the approval or liking or disliking the project or not. It has to be the law that we follow and not our personal. What I think you're doing between the three examples that you raised, you're comparing apples to oranges. Because the ethics board is something completely different than President's Park, is something completely different than the project on
Right,
Mount
I
Sinai
might have
Road.
mixed.
No, it's okay.
frustration
You had said
in
that
there.
your frustration was that you brought three things, and then all three have been decided against you. It's not necessarily against or for. All three of them are going through the process, and the outcome, again,
Just isn't
was
in
the
my favor.
outcome.
I can accept-
Exactly.
I can accept that.
As long as you know the process, and I think
Right.
that's what's important for the town board with respect to your concerns, is that we address your concerns, that you understand what the process is, and that nothing is kept from you.
Right. Yeah, that's all I can ask for is transparency and accountability, you know, if we make mistakes, we make mistakes, right? You know.
For sure.
Which brings me to my next question. I read in the minutes that we sent our comprehensive plan back for review again to Wendell, correct?
We haven't done it yet. We're gonna form a committee probably at the next meeting.
Okay.
And then we'll have our first meeting. Once we do that, I believe, Tim, we have our first meeting with Wendell then, correct?
Correct.
So, Councilwoman Wecker's gonna be on that committee. I'm gonna be on that committee. Mr. Lyle he's left. He was here earlier.
Okay.
He volunteered to be on that committee. We haven't named anybody on that committee. We're looking at getting a few more committee members, and then we're gonna form that committee, and at the September 8th meeting, we're gonna make that committee.
Okay. Now, am I reading it wrong, but they said there was gonna be 2 meetings with public, like being able to put public input?
Yeah.
Is that right?
More,
Okay.
yeah, at least 2 meetings,
At
right?
least, maybe probably more than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so September 8th then, right?
We're gonna need, yeah. If you wanna apply to be on it, send in an email to Amy Smith. I don't know if you guys want that. You seem okay.
I'm just being honest.
You seem okay. I mean,
I just like to do my research, you know, I appreciate everything you guys are doing, I didn't think anything was gonna come of it, but at the same time, you know, if we're not here to hold you guys accountable, then, you know, and you guys are here to hold us accountable, you know, that's part of, being.
I respect that. I respect that.
Congrats on that big old fish, too.
Yeah. You wanna hear a fish story?
Yeah.
It was the last fish of the day. 4 guys sitting there like this. The water was like this 3-4 foot waves, right? 2 guys were sick to their stomach. Boom, pole goes, and somebody said, "Who wants it?" And they're like, "This way," and he goes, "I don't want it." And this way, they didn't want it. So I stood up, and all of a sudden I picked that thing up, and phew, that thing took off. So that's how I caught it. I didn't work a rock. I didn't work a tree limb. You know. So that's my fishing story. But I appreciate it. Anybody else like to speak? No? Okay, with that, we have our town board work session on September 8th at 6 p.m. The historic preservation is up in the air whether they'll meet on September 9th.
Steve, let me comment on that. I spoke with the clerk's office, and when we get a better word on that, they'll put it on the board outside.
Okay, it'll be on, and we'll announce it at our September 8th meeting.
Right.
Zoning board is September 11th at 6 p.m. Planning board is September 18th at 6:30 p.m. And also, next Monday, just to make sure, September 1st, the town hall will be closed for Labor Day. So I would ask for a motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. Hey, you want to take a picture?
Sure.